Feedback. Feedback.
Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am Thabiti Mpinda,
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback.
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you.
Feedback. Feedback. Feedback.
And take us along with you. Happy Monday to everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to Feedback. We know that this past weekend was Mother's Day, and I hope that all of you had an opportunity to call your moms and share some time with her. And remember, next month, Father's Day. Don't forget. You know, fathers always saying, you never think for mom, but you don't never think about that. Well, we're going to think about fathers next month.
Please.
Absolutely. I want to say good morning to Rosa and Vera, and to Carl and Ron and Katrina, and to Sister Fedora and Miss Farmer, and oh boy, just trying to think of everybody that I came across this past week, and we hosted a meeting for Barton McFarland at the Montfort Marine Center, which is located on Joy Road, just past Schaefer. A very nice place. And you know, the Marines risked their lives for us. Some gave their lives for us. And so now we are in the process of supporting the Montfort Marines. So we want to let you know that they have a center available for rental for wedding receptions, birthdays, repasts, and any other occasion that you may want to use a center for. And they also, on Fridays, have nice meals. They do that as their fundraiser. They have catfish dinners and perch dinners and whiting dinners and shrimp dinners, chicken dinners, and really nice menu that they have there available. So, who is it that you want to say good morning to, the meeting?
Well, before the good morning, I want to say I have had the pleasure of eating the food at the Montfort Point Marines facility. Perch was my favorite, I have to say. And they have nice sides, which include fried mushrooms, fried okra, and fries, along with spaghetti and a few other sides. And it's a very nice experience. And I also got a chance to play pool there.
Oh,
And I won.
Oh, no wonder you enjoyed it.
And I want to shout out to Gladys and Clementine, Professor Griggs, our James Ford, who's Obama Weekend, as many of you know, Sister Jackie, and you can see the numbers at the bottom of the screen, and have your pen and paper handy so that way the information we share with you today, you can share with others as well. And I want to say belated Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there as well.
All right. Well, you know, there's an interesting section of the Hood Research website, which is called the Thinkers Report. And if any of you have an article that you want to share, please feel free to send it to us. Hood Research email is contact@hoodresearch.org. That's CONTACT, then the little A with the circle around it, HOODRESEARCH.org. And the phone number is area code 248-234-2371. We have Facebook, and we ask you to follow us on Twitter. So we have a lot going on. There was a Thinkers Report that you found, and you had written an article for it. And did you want to share that with us?
Yeah, I want to let everyone know that as I show you this physically, and I just noticed on the back as I look at it, it had Detroit's black-owned gas stations, and there were 17 at the time. This is from 2002. So to let you know, this thing is 21 years old. Now, what I'm going to do briefly is just read the first couple of paragraphs that Theo wrote, and some of you who have been around for a while will be aware of some of the names involved. City Clerk Wipes the Slate Clean by Theo Broughton. On November 5th, 2002, mainstream media was hard-pressed to find derogatory news on then Detroit City Clerk Jackie L. Curry. It is widely known during her reign as clerk she has been plagued with many faux pas, ranging from unopened voting sites to confused registered voters. The incoming city clerk had numerous corrections and improvements to make. After attending the city clerk conferences, Clerk Curry implemented some of the recommendations gleaned from these conferences. The voting process was proceeding but too slow for the naysayers to believe in its effectiveness. Then along came Candace. Who is Candace, you ask? Candace Miller is Secretary of State until December 31st, 2002. The policies introduced by Miller have required that all municipal clerks use her address book, aka the qualified, you forgive me, I got to open the thing up here, the qualified voter file. This file is generated by all information registered with the Secretary of State. Addresses with the Secretary of State determine the location where you are required to cast your vote. Insurance redlining and residency has created a barrier between the Detroit residents and their friendly neighborhood voting booth since Miller's policies became effective. The more recent voter interruptions have been charged to Curry's incompetence rather than Miller's incompetence where it belongs. This past November's election process was met with additional staff, equipment, and an organization called VOTE, V-O-T-E. VOTE stands for Voters Organized for Total Efficiency. Vote volunteers committed to assist in the November 5th preparation included securing workers, volunteers, voting sites, and voter awareness and education. The results equal total efficiency, but will continue its educational outreach at its volunteer efforts. Vote is here to stay.
All right. Well, I remember that. That was such a long time ago. Wow.
And we're still here 31 years.
Right. Absolutely. Oh, that was wonderful. You know, as I mentioned a little earlier, if someone has an article they want to put into the Thinkers Report, please email it to us. This morning we have we got another article to come, but this morning we have a guest with us, and you may remember that he has been with us before, and he has organizations and very, very busy, but I'm so glad that he decided to join us, and that would be Mr. Richard Clay. Thank you for being with us today, and tell the viewers, who is Richard Clay, just in case they forgot.
All right. Well, thank you both for having me here again. I'm honored to be back. I am, first and foremost, I'm a community activist, longtime Detroit native, lifelong Detroiter. I'm an educational consultant, former teacher, DPS, former DPS student. I'm an alumni of DPS, and I'm a person who's just I do business activism and a lot of life activities here in the city of Detroit, and always trying to do what I can to help improve our situation.
Absolutely. What is the most pressing thing we should start with? Because I know you're involved in a lot. What is the most pressing issue you want to start with?
So I think that we have so many issues, but one of the most pressing issues right now is the nonsense, the shenanigans that are going on with the school board and the superintendent, the proposed cuts that are now coming our way from the school board that seems to be hitting us drip by drip, month by month. We're finding out more about them, combined with the fact that we're finding out now that just like they did in Wyandotte at one school, we have cell phone towers on the tops of many of our Detroit public schools.
Yeah, I hear there are 29. Can they be readily seen? I mean, I just keep wondering, how would you get a cell phone tower on top of a building without anybody well, maybe they come in the middle of the night, so they could do that. But there had been an outcry in Wyandotte. I mean, the residents and parents and I guess teachers and all staff have filed a court case. I've not heard the results of the court case, but I did hear a report that said if they have to take them down, that it would cost them, the school district in Wyandotte, $6 million. Have you heard anything, along that line? If the tower, the cell phone towers are taken off of the Detroit public schools?
So let me just say this. I think your first question was, like, how do they even get them up there?
With nobody noticed it. Yes.
So when the situation came up in Wyandotte, before that, most people had never even heard about this or even thought to consider that anyone would ever put cell phone towers on the top of school buildings. That you would mix that type of technology that does give off radiation, and that you would put it that near around where there's so many developing, still growing children.
Right.
So, the first we heard about this was in Wyandotte, and when all that kind of blew up, somebody, of course, kind of leaked that, hey, there's a cell phone tower on the top of Paul Robeson Malcolm X school.
Oh, Lord.
And then that turned into, and then there's some other ones also. And so, then, people who are really in the know, were kind of like, well, because when questioned about it, the school board and the superintendent basically said, we don't know how many. We got to get back with you all. And it's kind of come out that, well, there's 29, which is about 1/3 of the school buildings. So my point is that they knew very well how to get them up there and not let anybody know that they were putting them up there. They had a contract. They're getting paid for them being up there. So it's kind of like one of those things like, well, if only they knew what they were doing. No, they know exactly what they're doing and why they're doing it also, which is always usually about money.
Right.
So that part of it, we understand. Now, yes, there is as with anything, when people are paying you to carry through on a contract, if you break the contract early, there's a penalty involved. It would cost DPS about $6.8 million if they were to unilaterally remove those cell phone towers off the schools, according to information that we received.
Something real interesting about this. Now, I know that the city and private businesses have the ability, so they say, and they've done it, to what they call create an easement where they're able to do things. But we're talking about a private company placing their cell phone towers on a public building, that being the school itself. Now, I know why. I can understand in one respect how or why they would do that, because you need height for the tower so that way it can transmit those radio frequencies to wherever they're trying to get them. But now at the same time, one of the other things that I'm thinking is, just like outside of the building we're in now, there's a large tower. but it's separate from the building itself. It's not on the building, and whoever it is, whether it's Comcast, Xfinity, AT&T, I don't care who, they have the ability. Well, I guess in this case it would be Verizon and some of those companies. Nevertheless, they have the ability to put that tower in another location. It doesn't have to be on the school. They would just have to build it higher in order to be able to get it. So one of the questions, Mr. Clay, I guess I'm addressing to you is this. I'm wondering, somewhere, either the superintendent, the principal, somebody had to approve that tower being there. It didn't just grow there like a weed. So somebody signed something to have that put there. And I don't know if they, let the community know at the time, well, this is part of something that we're doing, a new construction or addition to it. So if you're able to answer this, how were they able to just slip that in there? Because, of course, again, somebody has to sign some papers to approve it. I can't just come and put something up in your yard without your permission or on your business or on your property. And then I've got my construction team that's got to, with a crane, lift that big old thing up there, place it there, run all the wiring, and then feed it through some electrical source. So I'm just curious, is there any idea of who may have signed for that within the Wyandotte school system?
So I'm glad you made that distinction about how the certain towers can be set up, and they don't all necessarily have to be on top of the very building at which they are associated with, because we don't know, in terms of DPS schools, we don't know which whether the towers are on the actual buildings, and we can assume that on many of the schools they're right on top of the buildings, because some of the schools don't have much land, adjacent land or property associated with them. So there's probably different arrangements that are going on in terms of how the towers are put up and how they are put to the schools. But we know they want height.
Right.
Now, Wyandotte situation I'm not as familiar with, because I just, it seemed like there was one school where they were having a problem with, and I wasn't watching that story too closely because my operations. I'm the president of the Detroit chapter of the National Federation of the Blind. I run blackboysincrisis.com. I'm doing like so many other things. The Wyandotte story is just like something I saw in the news, and I was just kind of like, oh, wow, that's messed up.
Yeah.
But, when the story comes home and you're like, wow, are you for real? Like we're Wyandotte times 29.
Hey.
And so, at that point, it's like, okay, I might have to drop some projects right now and see what is going on with this craziness, because we have enough problems with our students and with our children that are from environmental pollution and that type of thing. We don't need any others because somebody's trying to make a quick buck. And so the contracts, there's no unilateral contracts that come through the DPS CD system, where first of all, like, principals don't have the power to sign a contract and have construction on their school. A lot of the power that the principals used to have independent powers have been taken away from them, and it's centrally located now.
Right.
So those contracts, they have a contract and procurement department.
Yep.
They have one of the board members will run a committee that's over certain contracts. Those contracts come before the board. They're voted by the board, at least that contracting committee. Then they probably get an up or down quick vote by the board as a whole, and then they're signed off on usually by the superintendent themselves. So you notice that the board members, you haven't heard any board members jumping up and saying, wow, there's towers on top of our school, because you've got a situation where the board and the superintendent, Dr. Vitti, himself, they're aware that those towers are there. They've been aware all this time.
Now let me tell you this one thought that I just had. You had mentioned that they're going to get paid to have the towers, or are getting paid to have the towers up there, right?
Right.
Money coming in. Another source of money coming in. Over here, you have this presentation from the superintendent of schools, Dr. Vitti, who says that he has to lay off or fire or whatever, however he wants to do it, but he's got to get rid of support staff. So now, if you had this money coming in over here, what's going on with that money that you couldn't keep the support staff? Those towers don't go up there for 25 cents. They pay bucks for you to host their towers on the top of anything. So for him to say, well, we got to downsize the staff because we don't have any money, but this money over here, 29 towers? Come on. I'm be willing to bet there's enough money generated on these towers for him not to say that he's going to get rid of support staff, unless he may have caused that catastrophe to distract people from the fact that 29 towers were put on top of the schools, and you were not supposed to notice it till 10 years from now. In the meantime, you're talking about the side effect from the tower affecting the children with the where does it come from, the towers? What
Radio
is it?
frequency waves.
The radio,
Yeah.
okay. That generally, in my opinion, because I'm not a techie and all of this, engineer and everything. However, this kind of effect on the children may not be realized in cancer, example, for 10 years from now, 15 years from now.
Right.
And the parents, the family, the person themselves may not think back to, oh, I was going to that school when this radiation was flowing in the air around me. Or lead in the windows, as a matter of fact. Let's add that to the... okay. And when you think about the kinds of things that should be checked, should be corrected, and he's adding insult to injury. If that request came in, do you think it came into the board, or do you think somebody decided to contact Dr. Vitti? We got an idea, and we got some money. Let's dangle the money in front of him. You were going to say?
Well, and one of the things I wanted to find out, brother, I guess I should have got clarity on this in the beginning. Are there towers now on the Detroit Public Schools, or is this proposed?
They are there right now.
Wow. Okay, I wasn't ready for
They're
that.
there right now.
Wow.
Which is why you almost view this as a emergency situation in need of being resolved.
Wow. Well, the first segment, third, second, and all of the segments go really fast. Our first segment is concluding, and we want you to, step out in the kitchen, get your milk, coffee, tea, orange juice. Call somebody. Tell them to tune in and listen to what's going on. This may be the first time they're hearing about it. And we will be back momentarily.
It's the These Nuts Show with your host, Butter and friends. Butter here, magician escape artist, practicing for my show tonight. Come on in, have a seat.
Everybody settle.
few seconds. You gotta be enough to get out of this one. Twist a little turn. Ta-da! It's showtime. It's your old friend Butter here. I may be a nut, but I know to wear my mask. Please welcome my first guest tonight, fitness guru, Wally Wallman.
Wally Woodland here to tell you to wash your hands with soap and water for 20 seconds so you will stay healthy and strong like me.
Almond Cruz here, sliding in with the news. Distance is what we must do to stay away from the chew and other germs in the air that might be trying to get on you. Social distancing is a wonderful way to see friends. As long as you're 6 feet apart, you win.
Hey there, friends. I wouldn't miss this for the world. It's me, Pumpkin Spice, your healthy girl. Remember, it's important to use your kind hearts and follow the signs to stay healthy and safe at all times.
Chica Chiminsky here to say, don't forget the little ones that need you to lead the way. That's how we remember to wash our hands, mask, and social distance today.
Morgan Raisin. Yes, it's me, here to sing about health and safety. We are all here to help get a message out to your grapevine, teaching healthy choices to stay safe all the time.
Don't let these guys drive you nuts. Put your mask on first. They'll let you be. And it keeps me safe from the
chew
that's trying to get on me.
Butter me up. She's right, you know. Thank you, Hallie Cranberry, for joining the show. Let's all be nuts about our health. Social distancing, wash your hands frequently, use hand sanitizer, and wear a mask. Practice what we learned to stay away from the germs. We're all in this together. Coming soon, the many adventures of these nuts in a theater near you.
This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman. I am here to address all of your complaints and concerns. If you need assistance regarding city services, please contact my office at 313-224-6000 or contact us via email at ombudsman@detroitmi.gov. This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman.
I've always been a runner, but I've never run from anything, and neither has my city.
Do you want to be a Detroit police officer?
Sir, yes, sir!
Amen!
It's something special to protect the people closest to you, the ones you've known all your life, your neighbors, your friends. I was born in this city, and I'm not going anywhere. This is my home. That's why I wear the shield.
Feedback.
Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am Thabiti Mpinda,
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for feedback.
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV. Watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you.
Feedback.
And we are back. Money, 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 money. You remember that song? Wow.
Them OJ.
On one school and in paying $1,000 a month. Well, that's $12,000 a year. However, there are 12 towers on top of 12 schools. And let's say, for the sake of this conversation, that $10,000 a month is being paid. That's $290,000 a month. And Dr. Viti's talking about laying off support staff? That's what needs to come on and get shouted out at the school board meeting. Because $290,000 could have been used to pay that support staff that he wants to lay off. Or was the report of support staff a distraction from the $290,000?
It's almost $3 million a year when you add it all up.
Hey, very interesting. Well, tomorrow's supposed to be the next school board meeting Hey, people, wake up. Tomorrow, 5:30 p.m. And unless somebody tries to pull a trick, I called and spoke to the school board secretary for this information. The meeting, school board meeting, is supposed to be tomorrow. What's the date tomorrow? The
16th.
16th. May the 16th. Tuesday, May the 16th. Tuesday, tomorrow, May the 16th, 5:30 p.m. Location, according to the secretary, is at Western International School. Western International School. The address is 1500 Scotton. 1500 Scotton. That's in Southwest Detroit. You need to know that the meetings get alternated from the east side to the west side and back again. Tomorrow is on the west side, 1500 Scotton, Western International High School, 5:30 p.m. 5:30 p.m. is where you need to be. Sign a card so you can speak to the superintendent and the board members. Let them know that you are aware. And you want to talk about the dangers of this thing. And you want to know, where's the money going? How long have they been up there? Does anybody know how long they've been there? Do you know?
I don't know.
See?
I have no idea.
See? All of this secrecy. We need a forensic audit. Not just an audit, but a forensic audit. Forensic auditors go in lifting up the papers, looking under the desk, looking behind the window curtains like, who, you said, how much came in? And it went where? We have problems, we have repairs that need to be done, and this money has been coming on for however long. We know most likely it's been 1 month anyway.
Yeah.
$290,000? No. The state is responsible for the public schools. We have a state board of education. Maybe somebody needs to talk to them, the governor and the state board of education. Anyway, we have as our guest this morning Richard Clay, who is the man about town, the superior activist, as he says, has so many things going on and doing them well. And my co-host wanted to ask some questions now.
Yeah, one of the things that I brought up while we were on break was the idea that were there any studies that were brought before the board to maybe even suggest or indicate what long-range effects were? And one of the things that I mentioned off air was that we know when cell phones first came out that people were told, especially now that we got 5G, but this was prior to 5G, that there's the potential that if you held your phone, because a lot of people were just laying on their phones even as they do today, and there was the potential for because even though it's a small radio frequency wave that's, say, coming to your particular phone, if you have that next to your ear for a long period of time, let's say you're a businessman or somebody who just likes to yap all the time, that those radio waves would eventually affect you in terms of maybe tumors or something. Now, of course, technology has advanced, so we're not really sure. And then again, just like the school towers, they're not telling us anything anyway. So these people were using Bluetooth. They were using their phones on speaker. They may have had headphones, which I happen to have some earbuds, so that way I could keep the phone away. And they used to say how even if you had it on your side, then while you were using one of these wireless things, that the tumor might develop in that part of your body. So I guess my question to you, Brother Clay, is, to your knowledge, were any studies brought before the concerned bodies that were going to eventually okay the placement of those school towers, or did they just, as Theo say, follow the money? So they were just basically looking at, look, we got another source of income. We don't really care about long-term effects, because I'm concerned about the students that we're trying to put out on a top-tier excellent level having challenges that, weren't brought about by their own choice.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a great question. It's great points you raise all the way across the board. Everyone should also remember when the cell phones first came out, they all had antennas on them, physical antennas. And the thing was, as you were using them, you tried to keep the antenna pointed away from your head. Okay? And then some of them, they developed antennas that you could, they made it easier for you to point them away from your head. And then the antennas disappeared from physical view. It's not that the phones don't have antennas. They still have them. The antennas just moved inside the casing of the phone, which was weird to me because they knew we were trying to keep the antennas away from our heads, but they just hid them from us. So now you don't know where the antenna is and which way the waves are coming in. And all they told us as they did that is, oh, you don't have to worry about it. That was old thinking. Those waves aren't hurting you anymore. So we already know that if we're depending on them for information to protect us from, these the radio frequencies, they're not going to give it. There's been some studies out there over the years as to the possible harmful effects on people from the phones and over long time usage, and every time those reports kind of get out, they'll put out another report that kind of pours water on it and tries to tamp it down. But yes, we in terms of with the schools, from the reactions and the people that I've talked to out in the community, nobody knew about this. So nobody there were probably very few people who were present on the day when the contracts came and passed across the board for the cell phone towers. There was probably limited discussion or debate, and I can guarantee you there were no studies presented on what the environmental hazards and people hazards would be of putting this type of technology on the schools, because you already know what the response from the community. There's some things you have to wonder how the community will respond. There's some things you already know, and they already know. So it's like when city council or when Congress is about to give you a tax increase, they don't have to take a poll to know what the reaction is going to be. They already know. So they also know how to couch it and how to try and make it as low key when they're discussing it. So that's probably how it happened, and very few people knew that this was going on. Now, there was something we were being told that Councilwoman Mary Waters' office has come up with a proposal to she's proposing that that the city council and maybe in conjunction with the school board, that they take a look at this issue and that they almost commission a study to see what the possible effects could be of having these towers on or this close to the schools and the kids and so on and so forth. And this is in response to I know Helen Moore, Mother Helen Moore has been out there and she's, appealed, I think, to the city council that they should do something. And so it's good to see that Councilwoman Waters is taking this initiative. Although I'm pretty good with Google. And there are people out there that are way better than me with Google. And I think, if you put in probably 1 day's worth of work on Google, you're going to come up with some studies that are and some reports out there that already will show you the dangers of having towers like that, cell phone towers, close to areas that are highly populated with kids, probably seniors. I don't think the wheel needs to be reinvented here. The reports and the studies for this type of thing, they're already out there. And I think what the council needs to really do is just grab those reports, Put somebody on it. It shouldn't take any more than a couple of days to grab those reports. Then they need to take a look at those. And city council or the state legislature, of course, with our community pressure put on them, which is the only way they ever do any of this, could then be moved to take care of this issue, either with some new legislation, or if they kind of, I know someone told me that Councilman Tate responded to Helen Moore by saying that this is not a council issue. You need to take that up with the school board, different point of governance. But the city council has the right, the authority, and the ability to take care of any public threat to the children and to the schools with immediate action through zoning. We've always heard that you can't have things like liquor stores or strip clubs, this many feet or this many yards within the school. Different cities have passed laws to say that you can't, selling drugs is illegal, but if you sell drugs this many feet close to a school, then you just took that crime and we'll just put another 5 to 10 years on that. And so they could easily, just through zoning, whoever runs the zoning committee, they could zone and say that you can't have cell phone towers this many feet or yards from a school, let alone on top of it or in it or up under it or around it, And that would even erase the point, if city council did it, if the state legislature did it, that would erase the point of the schools having to pay a hefty fine from them voiding out the contract. It would save money all the way around, and it would be the government acting on behalf of the public safety of the children. So they could do it. They should do it, and we have to lean on them to make them do it.
And I like the fact that you said zoning, because that right there, that's solid in writing what can and cannot be permitted. Like you say, maybe a marijuana dispensary cannot be but so close to, residential area, strip clubs, etc. Liquor stores, only so many within a certain geographic area. So there's already things on the book to police those type of behaviors, and for them not to be. And I'm glad, as you said, Councilwoman Mary Waters has taken an initiative. Unfortunately, we got 8 other people who sit on the city council who don't seem to, they just kind of pass it along and say don't really, take too much concern in it. Now, they do, even though they want to pass the buck and say, well, let the DPSCD take it, but they have staff. Not only that, they have constituents who are affected by those kind of things. So if you got staff, and as you said, get on Google, have your staff people, they're working for you anyway, taking care of whatever matters need to be taken care of. Have them say, look, I want to assign you to this. Go on Google, wherever you got to go, get all the information, because the way, as I see it, the statistics that work in favor, let's say, of the, statistics studies, whatever, that work in favor of the cell phone tower people, they're only going to cite those particular studies that say, well, there's no long-term effect, where there are always contrary studies that say, well, there is effects, and we can document it. So I would hope, like you say, Mary Waters, I give my hat off to her for what she's doing, but we need to have, Tate, whoever else is out there, Coleman, all of them need to say, well, look, these people are in my district, and I'm concerned about the product of children that we're going to raise. As far as I'm concerned, this is just like having lead paint in the house. We want to, or lead pipes for that matter, we want to eliminate the potential for any danger, down the line, because then these children will have to be taken care of by the state, or the government in some way, because they are not intellectually, they're not functioning on an intellectual level where they can actually fend for themselves. So I applaud that. Now, and I guess I wonder as well how we can, because there's an apathy, unfortunately. I mean, this is in politics in general and all the way around. People don't want to vote when you mentioned the school board meetings, people don't really want to attend. I did when my children were in school, but people are not attending, so they're not aware. And until you brought this to us, brother, I had no awareness of all. But of course, my children are not in school anymore, so I'm not involved in that. And even if I had went to some of the LSCO meetings, that may never have come up, had you not brought that to our attention. So is there a way that we can go about, like Phil's already let you all know, and I'm just going to repeat this information now. 5:30 p.m. tomorrow at Western International High School. That's May 16th, which is at 1500 Scotton. That's in Southwest Detroit. There'll be a school board meeting. Now, those of you who are listening to this program now, even if you don't have children, you may have grandchildren, I think it's important for you to be there. And, I would just say drop the bomb on them, as they say. They're not ready for you to come with this kind of information about what about the cell phone towers. They would skirt the issue. We can't afford to let them skirt the issue at all. So I would hope that many of you out there would make it a point. Send somebody if you can't go yourself. Let them know. Take that time out of your day. You don't have to look at reruns of Sanford and Son, All in the Family, or whatever. When something so critical is affecting our community. And I look at it like this now. The people, what was that, Westland, I believe it was? What city was that?
Wyandotte.
Okay, I knew it was with a W. Okay.
Yeah,
they are out there making noise, and they're on the news. I don't hear anybody in Detroit making noise or being on the news for the same concerns. We have to change that narrative.
Yeah, that would be a good idea to ask them to attend the meeting tomorrow too, because it is disrespectful, and to try and come up with a distraction just so the people will notice what's going on with these cell phone towers that happen to be pumping a lot of money into somebody's pocket. And the Detroit Public School System received money from the federal government already, right? $700 million or $800 million, something along that line.
Lots of money from the COVID relief funds.
Right. And I was at the school board meeting when the superintendent stated that he was going to build 3 high schools. And one of the high schools I remember was in the 7th district, which is Cody High School. And then here recently, I hear he's talking about 5 schools. But whatever the number is, there's no shovel been put in the ground yet for any of them. And, you got to wonder, well, why is that?
Well, and remember now, what the basis for all of the staff cuts is what they're saying is that the COVID money, the pandemic, the government is proclaiming the end of the pandemic.
Okay.
They're not saying that people can't catch COVID anymore because we know that is clearly still going on. They're saying that the emergency, there's no longer an emergency killer pandemic out here. And I would contest that is not true also.
Really.
But that's what they're claiming. And so therefore, a lot of that funding is about to dry up. Now, the superintendent is saying that based on that, and based on the fact that this district has lost 2,000 students and they're funded by the per student allowances that comes in from the feds, they're losing money from the feds on both sides. They're losing a lot of money. Money's about to, boom, just get cut off. And it tells you right off the bat that, okay, everybody knew that the COVID money was going to end sooner or later. So those schools that you talked about building haven't been built, but no money has been stored for a rainy day. No plans were made during the COVID money when hundreds of millions of dollars was just rolling in here. No money was put up. No plans were made to prepare yourselves for how you would staff the schools once the money stopped coming in. And most importantly, every school district was losing students, and you had students going on virtuals, and some of the parents still scared to send them back. Nobody got all of their students back. Where were your consultants? They got educational consultants and corporate consultants. Where were your consultants helping you to develop a marketing plan to increase your student base and bring in new students to replace those that you were losing. They haven't had it. And this is from a superintendent who's been there since 2017, before the pandemic. No plans were made. The only plan that they have is a plan that they always come from. When the money is short, they tell us they're going to cut. They're going to lay off. They're going to cut to the bone. And all of those cuts, of course, make it hurt the services and the educational product with the students.
Right. Well, then my concerning question gets even stronger. When are you going to start an audit, and a forensic audit at that? Because that money it came without any significant mandates as far as anybody knows, especially with these cell phone towers. So whoever needs to be called to be there tomorrow to hear about the needs as it relates to contaminating the location, so the students may have to leave.
You know, I wanted to just broaden this discussion by, and maybe help me with this, Brother Clay. Now, we know in the past, the recent past, especially before COVID, but even now, I'm sure, too many teachers were funding a lot of supplies, coming out of their own pockets, those kind of things. And of course, that's been a little bit more quieted down. And let me just say to the listening audience, the viewing audience, if you're involved in the school system, you can be a silent whistleblower if you want. Let us know what's going on, because we were hearing about water in certain parts of the building, mildew, mold. We were hearing about ceilings that were coming down,
Right.
and we know some of these schools are older schools, so it's not to say they don't have asbestos in them, and so many other things that are hazardous. So we're speaking about cell phone towers, but I want to broaden it, because we know that teachers have had to buy supplies. They even have taken it up on themselves sometimes to even help some of the personal needs of their students who with shoes, clothing. I know there was one school, you may be more familiar with this than myself, Theo, where they actually had a washer, 2 washers and 2 dryers there, where children could actually bring their clothes to the school. I know this has been a few years ago, so I don't know if it's still, operational or not, but where they could bring their clothes to school because they may not have had a washer or a dryer to even wash their own things. So, and this is another thing I mentioned, because the school board needs to address that as well. What is the condition of the schools that these children are in? And is there and maybe you know this, brother, I'll just kind of throw it to you, do the schools ever get inspected? Is there an inspector that comes through, like maybe from the city, or do they have their own in-house inspectors who go through the schools and just look at conditions and then cite those and then bring it back either to the superintendent or the school board?
The schools definitely are inspected, but rarely, usually problems with school buildings come up when emergency situations, when disasters happen. Right. That's when you find out. So the inspections that happen in these schools they're not real inspections,
Yeah, one of the things, I'm retired from construction trade, but one of the things I noted when I was working for a particular contractor, what he did is when the city inspector came, we were doing electrical work, when the city inspector came, he would kind of wine and dine whoever that particular inspector was, so that way he could, kind of curry favor, so, the inspector would kind of overlook certain little violations. And I'm wondering, since the inspections for DPSCD may have the same thing, where the inspector wants to keep his job, right? So he's working for the city. So what he may want to do is he sees something, but he can kind of overlook it and say, well, look, y'all need to do such and such, but he doesn't write it up in his report. So therefore it never, it never goes beyond whoever he gives that report to.
It never gets repaired.
Yeah. We're at the top of the hour.
Oh my
How time
goodness.
flies. And
Jeez.
we've got to take that legitimate FCC break.
Yes. We have to pause for the cause. And for those of you who are enjoying this information and will find it beneficial, I hope, as my co-host always says, that you've had pen and paper handy so that you can share this information with others. But hold tight, and we'll be back momentarily.
This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman. I am here to address all of your complaints and concerns. If you need assistance regarding city services, please contact my office at 313-224-6000 or contact us via email at ombudsman@detroitmi.gov. This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman.
It's the These Nuts Show with your host, Butter and friends. Butter here, magician escape artist, practicing for my show tonight. Come on in, have a seat.
All right, everybody settle. Butter, you're on in 5, 4, 3, 2.
In a few seconds, there gotta be enough to get out of this one. Twist a little turn, ta-da! It's showtime! It's your old friend Butter here. I may be a nut, but I know to wear my mask. Please welcome my first guest tonight, fitness guru, Wally Wallman.
Wally Wallman here to tell you to wash your hands with soap and water for 20 seconds so you will stay healthy and strong like me.
Almond Cruz here, sliding in with the news. Distance is what we must do to stay away from the chew and other germs in the air that might be trying to get on you. Social distancing is a wonderful way to see friends. As long as you're 6 feet apart, you win.
Hey there, friends. I wouldn't miss this for the world. It's me, Pumpkin Spice, your healthy girl. Remember, it's important to use your kind hearts and follow the signs to stay healthy and safe at all times.
Chica Chiminsky here to say, don't forget the little ones that need you to lead the way. That's how we remember to wash our hands, mask, and social distance today.
Morgan Raisin. Yes, it's me, here to sing about health and safety. We are all here to help get a message out to your grapevine, teaching healthy choices to stay safe all the time.
Don't let these guys drive you nuts. Put your mask on first. They'll let you be. And it keeps me safe from the
chew
that's trying to get on me.
Butter me up. She's right, you know. Thank you, Hallie Cranberry, for joining the show. Let's all be nuts about our health. Social distancing, wash your hands frequently, use hand sanitizer, and wear a mask. Practice what we learned to stay away from the germs. We're all in this together. Coming soon, the many adventures of these nuts in a theater near you.
You ready to put your podcast on iHeartRadio? Yes, your podcast on iHeartRadio. What about Alexa, Roku, Fire Stick, Apple TV, Android, or iPhone? Plus live TV streaming. Get your podcast seen and heard all over the world. Call 313-868-6612. Pre-recorded shows are accepted to be archived. This is a WHPR distribution platform. Download the app from the App Store. Go to WHPRTV.com. Channels available for lease 24/7 on Roku, Fire Stick, or Apple TV. Coming soon, subscription and pay-per-view.
Also,
Block Time is available. Get yours. Call 313-868-6612. That's 313-868-6612. Executive producer R.J. Watkins. Program director Henry Tyler. 107.5 FM WGPR HD2. RadioWeCanSee.com.
You're watching WHPS, Highland Park, Detroit.
WGPR Detroit, HD2.
Feedback.
Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am Thabiti Mpinga.
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for feedback.
A positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV. Watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you.
Feedback, feedback, feedback.
With you. Oh, yes. Just remember, you can download us on the app right on your phone. And this morning, we have been analyzing and sharing a lot of the, hidden information about the Detroit Public School buildings and the effects of equipment that's being put on those buildings on our children. Imagine cell phone towers, cancer, little children. It's unacceptable. And our guest this morning is Richard Clay, president of the Detroit Federation for the Blind, right?
Yes.
And also the founder of the Boys, give us the name of that one?
BlackBoysInCrisis.com.
BlackBoysInCrisis.com. And also a community activist. And he is to be contacted. Is there a contact number to reach you for someone who has some information? Because one, we don't know where all the 29 cell phone towers are. We just know it's 29, and we know that they've been placed on top of our school buildings.
I can be reached at 313-247-3301. That is 313-247-3301. I can be reached through email at savingourSonsRC@yahoo.com, all lowercase.
Mm-hmm. Okay, one more time.
Email is savingourSons, SONS, my initials, RC, @yahoo.com.
All right. The kinds of things that are being put on our areas, our neighborhoods, our neighbors, our friends, our citizens and residents of the city of Detroit, who are paying the property taxes for all of these crazy things that are going on, by the way. Oh, boy. They just need to know. And I want you to help us to share that information. I want you to let them know that tomorrow's school board meeting at Western International School, 1500 Scotton Street. That's in Southwest Detroit area. And let the board know. We're talking 5:30 p.m. tomorrow. Won't take you long. And that information needs to be known. We need to have people to call the school board. If you're unable to attend, just call them and let them know. Write them a letter, but we need to let them know that we are aware of what they're doing and we don't like it. Now, the other part of that is if you feel that the media needs to be called in, the governor needs to be called in, and the state school board needs to be called in, then that's what you need to work on. Because what's happening now is it's not going well. It really is not going well.
And I just want to add, as Brother Clay had said, that they could Google, as he has done, various information to find out about the effects of cell phone towers. But if you're going to attend the meeting, Google it yourself. I mean, we don't need to be Googled about sports figures, celebrities, movie stars. I mean, they're living their life, and they're living a pretty good life, most of them. So really, it's not important to us to have that type of gossip. One unfortunate thing about us, we like to spread things, you know, did you hear about so-and-so? You know, I mean, just trivial stuff. And you know, I might brush against it slightly, but it doesn't dominate me. Some of you will look at Inside Edition, TMZ, and all this stuff and say, did you hear that Cardi B and so-and-so is breaking up? What does that have to do with your life, really? You know, except that you get a network of people who also want to know about that nonsense. So I'm saying Google cell phone towers, negative effect. You can put it in simply. You can speak it into your phone, and ask Siri, Alexa, whoever you want to ask, or you can type it in yourself. But make sure this is something that frustrates people. So I'm just saying this for those who may get frustrated too fast. Take your time. Make sure that the question you're asking is direct. So that way, when Alexa, Google, whoever responds, they will give you the information you need. And don't get frustrated if you don't get it right the first time. Take that information to the school board meeting. Once you throw something like that in their face, I think it's undeniable. Then they can't get around that. Mm-hmm. You say, well, I know this. How come y'all didn't know this? And y'all put our children in jeopardy. So prepare yourself. When you're going into battle, always prepare yourself. Don't go in there, like they say, don't bring a knife to a gunfight because you're not going to win. Right. So bring information, put that to them, and even then some of them will kind of skirt the issue and say, well, we're going to check into that and get back with you. Well, you make it to the next school board meeting and say, well, I put this on the table. You say you get back with us. You've had 30 days. What's the outcome of your research, and what are you going to do about it? We have to be proactive, period.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Very true. Very true. Very true.
Most definitely.
There is one other event that I wanted to share tomorrow evening as well. But you can call the Detroit City Council and find out the location. They're having a community meeting tomorrow. And seeing as how you were bringing up the fact that the City Council member, Mary Waters, is talking about addressing this issue with the towers and the school as well. It would be good if a few people had an opportunity to attend that meeting too.
Now, brother, I wanted to ask you, because, again, you wear so many hats. So for blackboysincrisis.com, first tell us what it is, what will they find on the site, and how they can become involved.
Okay. blackboysincrisis.com is an education resource site that I've been running since 2008. Its purpose is to educate parents, teachers, the educators, the entire community about this ongoing crisis that exists with our young men and how to address it both in school and at home. And it gives parents resources, a lot of articles, some of my writings, a lot of articles that other people have written. But it gives incredible resources right at your fingertips. You just go there, type it up, put it in your browser, boom, it pops up. The site will pop up. And from there, if it's parents or educators that are looking for resources, if teachers are looking for resources to use with their students, they'll find it. There's going to be there's a free video library on there that where we have many of the Black and African scholars that are speaking to the subject. Some of their lectures, articles that they've written are there for people to read, to watch, to view. There's a lot of parents cannot afford tutoring, so on the site we have what's called the Activity Resources and Activity Center, and parents can click on the link for the Resources and Activity Center. Students can click on those links and they can go in there and they can basically get tutoring and find information on any subject, chemistry, science, mathematics, Black history. They can go there. They can either read articles, play educational games, or go on and get hands-on almost tutoring right there on the site with activities that will help to strengthen their academic skills on those sites. So it's an all-around resource site for the entire community. And even though it's blackboysincrisis.com, because that's where we started, we have activities and resources that our young girls can get involved with also.
Now, I want to encourage parents and grandparents. especially when this brother says that you can step up your game, so to speak, in terms of the activities, the tutorials, dealing with a variety of subjects, chemistry, science, math, black history, etc. One of the things, because I'm just a nerd, I guess, in a sense, I love to learn. So I'm saying that to not only for the students, male and female, but for the parents and grandparents, because there's a lot of things, and I do this with my granddaughter, I share with her information I know she's not going to get from her just general curriculum at school. Now, on top of that, not only do you help to enhance that of your child, grandchild, niece, or nephew, etc., but you enhance your own knowledge, because there's a lot of stuff that we came through school and did not know, and some just don't want to know. We know that already. I give a great example. A lot of times, when, especially back in the day, but it's still to this day, we'd say something about, let's say, we're going to talk about Elijah McCoy or something like that. And they say, oh, you're talking that black stuff. Like when they look in the mirror, they don't see somebody black. You know, I've never understood that at all. How can you say, well, I don't want to talk that black stuff, and every day you exist, you're reminded that you're black. So I would encourage many of you, all of you actually, and myself included, go to blackboysincrisis.com. At least look at what's on the monitor or your phone or whatever, and get an overview of the different things, because I want to know more about chemistry, science, math, and black history myself. None of us know it all, and we are a village. We may not act like the village we're supposed to be, but especially as elders, we should act like it. So I would encourage you all to do that. Now, since you got another hat, brother, I want to deal with, I'm going to run to the president of the Detroit Federation of the Blind. Since you're president, give us an overview of how it functions, people who may have seeing impaired children, or adults for that matter. What kind of benefits will that particular, the organization itself, give them, and how can they contact, that to, take advantage of those resources?
Yes. Okay. So I'm the president of it's the Detroit chapter of the National Federation of the Blind. The National Federation of the Blind is the largest blindness organization in the world, I believe. It's definitely in the country. It's basically, we can think of the NFB as the civil rights organization. It's a civil rights and advocacy organization for the blind. So we advocate on behalf of blind people so that they can enjoy equality, employment, independence in all facets of life. And anyone that is either going blind or that is blind, or who just wants to get to know and assist blind people can get in contact with us. They can call me at the same number that I gave out before, which was 313-247-3301. And we help people, we help them to get a white cane. We help people to get access to employment-related programs. We help people to get access to equipment and get a case open with the state agency for the blind so that they can get help with resources, whether they want to go to school, go to college, get retrained for a job. Because a lot of people, once they become blind, they think, like the world is ending, that it's over. And what we do is we bring them into our chapter where they can see the organized blind who are still living their lives, still having a good time, still having social lives, still working if that's what they choose to do, still having children, families, all of that.
And I want to just say that all of us have, we're not perfect, and many of us not even close to being excellent. But whatever limitations we have to understand that we really don't have any limitations other than the ones we impose upon ourselves, because there's a way around everything. There's a natural instinct or an internal instinct that we were just born with innately to be able to function, so people who can't hear are able to function on a certain level, So, a person with one leg shorter than the other, there's no limitation other than the ones that we accept. So that's
right.
number one, we can't accept a limitation. Now, many of us came up in school, I don't know if they still do it because I'm way past those days, where we had Helen Keller who had issues, but there are so many other people who have been very prominent within the society who had what would be considered a limitation of some sort, but it never stopped them. I've seen people where they got prosthetics, and you got people who are running in races and marathons, Paralympics.
Right.
There are so many different things. So and I would say this, I think some of those who have let's say no physical challenges seem to be more challenged than those who don't have that do have a physical challenge, because they've taken everything that they have for granted, something we just cannot afford to do. And I would just hope again that in your life, particularly as you age and you hopefully become more wise, that you become a little bit more involved as opposed to just playing the sidelines. Don't be a spectator in the arena of life. Become not a spectator, but a participator. That's what I want to say. Participate and let us. Let's say it's 24 hours in a day. Okay, you have 1 hour out of that 24. You can do some knucklehead stuff. Okay, I give you permission to do that. Do some old crazy naive stuff. But the other 23 hours, along with eating and sleeping, do something that. And I used to tell this to my children all the time, because I told it to myself. At the end of the day, you want to say that you've been able to do something that was either constructive or productive. Don't let that whole day go. And the last thing I'll say, we'll get back to, I guess, is that there's an old saying that it says, if you're the same person today that you were yesterday, you wasted 24 hours. We can't afford to waste time because that's all we have.
Yeah, I
That's
like
right.
that. That's right. Would you mind giving a number where people could reach you?
So my number again is 313-247-3301. And, the last time that I was here with you all, we were talking about the transportation issue, the Metrolift transportation that Mayor Mike Duggan was going to basically end because he couldn't get the contract. The National Federation of the Blind, when our partners Warriors on Wheels stood up with the crazy trans dev people that were running had been contracted to run the services, and so Duggan was basically like, if you won't play by my rules, I'm gonna shut the whole thing down, basically.
Okay.
And so we stood up against that, and that was a instance where the NFB was out there on front advocating for the rights of not just the blind, but all of the seniors across the city who use that, and we were successful. But that contract is coming up. Sometime in the next month or two, they will be announcing who is getting the contract permanently for the next 4 to 5 years, and who will be running that system and how. There's already been some improvements since we took the stand that we did.
Right.
But we are still waiting to see who's going to be getting the contract for the next 5 years and how they're going to
And
run
it should not be the same company.
It better not be.
You're right. He put his foot down. Did you hear that? He
It
put
better
his
not
foot down.
be.
And just what Brother Clay just said about how the NFB was able to get them to change, that just shows you what organization, dedication to purpose can do. Because had they not done that, of course, we wouldn't have what we have now. So we cannot, again, afford to be apathetic, because this affects us, or it affects our neighbors, a family member, even a stranger. We should always strive to do that, because, again, we can, do some knucklehead stuff. Now, Theo, I want to, because you got this sign in your yard, I want you to kind of tell people, we got about 6 minutes or so, but I want you to tell people, like, I forgot the name of the sign. I always forget it, but it has something to do with keeping your neighborhood up, so maybe you can help us with that.
Well, the sign says, "Love where you live. Don't litter."
Wow.
It's about taking care of your own personal property and encouraging those around you to take care of their property as well. It just takes a few minutes. Just if someone goes to one of the fast food restaurants and they're eating the whatever item they bought along the way, well, ball it up and put it in your pocket or put it in your bag or whatever you're carrying, so that when you get to a trash receptacle, you can drop it in there, or when you get home, you can drop it in there. If you're going into a building, a store, they have waste baskets as well. There was a friend of mine who would go past an intersection on her way to her job every morning, and she would notice that it was just constantly littered. So she started complaining, and then the administration sent a crew out to clean that intersection up. She went past, she says, wow, this is what I like, this is the way it should be. Everyone should want to have their intersections, their property, and all of the business property around them in such a, condition. A few days later, she went through and it was trashed again. Well, we have a group called the Police Commission. They meet every Thursday, unless it's Thanksgiving or Christmas falls on a Thursday. They meet every Thursday. Their telephone number is 596-3018. That's 596-3018, because they also meet in the community area. And the reason that I bring them up is because I have been complaining about the vehicles that our police personnel take home. This research has already been done, okay? The existence of a vehicle with nobody in it, a police car, van, what have you, sitting, is a deterrent to crime. It would be a deterrent to people throwing trash, in addition to being a deterrent to crime. So it is my opinion that when we work together, when we love where we live, not just our own house, but our neighborhood, our community, and the city here, we need to be, as Thabiti has already said, proactive. And we need to use all of what is available to us to make sure that we continue to love where we live and continue to want it to be the best that it can be. We are down to the last, few minutes of the show today, and I really appreciate you, Richard Clay, for joining us so that we could share this information with all of those who are tuned in, encourage them to share the information with others. Call your council members, call your school board members, call the superintendent as well. Yes. And if you're of the mind, call the media, tell them to be at the school board meeting tomorrow. Call the State Board of Education and call the governor. Give her something to do. But in the meantime, think about joining Hood Research. It's not necessary for you to know everything, but what is necessary is for you to know how to find what you need when you need it. And we at Hood Research seek out as much information as we can to share with you, because we also want you to share information with us. It helps us all make better informed decisions. We have a Facebook page. We have Twitter. We encourage you to follow us on Twitter. If you have some article you want us to put in the Thinkers Report, we want you to submit it to us. And the email for Hood Research is contact@hoodresearch.org. CONTACT, little at symbol, A with a circle around it, HOODRESEARCH.org. And the phone number for Hood Research is area code 248-234-2371. Again, area code 248-234-2371. and we want you to join Hood Research. The fee is $20 for the year, or a lifetime membership is $300. And sharing all that we do, including a conference call on Saturday. We're on from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. We have additional information there as well. And we want to let you know that we extend ourselves because we care and we love where we live. So we want you to tune in again next week. But first, Thabiti.
Yes, just two things very quickly. Again, you can contact our guest, Brother Richard Clay, and I want to thank you for being here, brother, with all the information. His phone number is area code 313-247-3301. Again, Richard Clay at 313-247-3301. The last thing is at 5:30 tomorrow at 1500 Scotton at Western International High School, there will be a school board meeting. That's May 16th, Western International High School at 1500 Scotton at 5:30 p.m. And as I always say, if you want to be nothing, do nothing. But the only problem with doing nothing is you never know when you're finished.
Tune in again next Monday. Peace.
Feedback.
Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am Thabiti Mpinga,
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for feedback.
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV. Watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you.
Feedback.
Watkins Broadcasting is going worldwide. Now